So I know I've written down sort of what I expect the project to look like on the board and talked it through a couple of times in class, but I just wanted to give a quick introduction. So here I actually have a presentation I previously did. So at the top I have the title, who wrote it, where we're from, where the money came to do this project, and then introduction, methods. For mine, I had a lot of data I had to simulate and some results. So I missed the conclusion section, but that's because as I said, the poster is mostly just for you to have something nice to refer to. For the most part, you're the one doing the talking through such a thing. So I talk people through all of this stuff and all of these results. So the figure does sort of say what it is. So if I weren't next to my poster, someone can kind of look through it and understand it. But for the most part, they need me there. So I actually made up a little mock version, which I'll post on Blackboard for you to look through. But here's my very fake project. So, is there a relationship between the number of pets and the cuteness of a cat? So, here, I'm going to go ahead and try to move this thing. You can see all the pieces I've been talking about in class. You have a purpose or introduction. Either one is a perfect way to title this. Basically something explaining why it is you're doing this project. Why is it interesting? What is it important? So something nice to put in is some reference to some sort of article or something. A lot of groups, you guys started with an article and you sort of said, this is something we think is interesting, this particular article, and I told you needed real data. So if you had that article handy, whatever you originally thought you were going to use, you can always say, okay, here's the original thing that piqued my interest. You don't need this, but it is something nice to have. Next is sort of why. This is the actual part that I expect to see here. Why is this interesting to you or your group? So in this case, I'm pretending as if I was a cat writing this because I had to make it entertaining to myself. So in this case, as kittens, we're interested in if we were more likely to receive more pets if we were cute. So my 4 group members here, these 4 adorable kittens, had a self-serving purpose for this. And here you might even posit what you expected. We expect to see that the cuter you are as a kitten, the more pets you receive. So then the methods and data collection. So how did you collect your data? So in mine, we did a survey. So I had some questions that I asked, and then I put down our possible limitations. So everyone we talked to, because we went to a cat cafe, was a cat person. So this question ended up being useless. Everybody was 100% cat people. So kind of limits who we can draw our conclusions about. And again, so this, if you have data that's online, you may want to just discuss, we only looked for these 2 years. That might be an issue if you're looking at sporting data, or there's a relationship between certain teams. Some of the sporting data, I know that we're looking at like series, so you have the same team that matters in a particular section. So just some potential issues. The results, what does the data look like, and what does it tell you in terms of your question? So first thing I have here is what the data looks like. So we collected data from 45 people, 80% were female and 20% were male. So that's this section. We already know the cat or dog person was 100% cat people, so I didn't even bother with that. And then I went ahead and just put down our summary statistics, mean, median, min, and max. And this is a pretty accepted way within the industry to put your mean with a standard deviation in parentheses next to it. So you can actually see, okay, average cuteness level was a 6.7, so we're rating the cats pretty cute with a standard deviation of 1.2. And here's where if you want, you don't have to do this in the descriptives. You could do it with pretty graphics instead. So you could easily put a histogram of the cuteness ratings. So you could show that it is left skewed. Most of the people rated the cats high, but there were a couple people who rated the cat or 2 low. Or you could post up a pie chart for this other piece. Really depends on how much you want, data versus summary stats versus displays. Next piece, the actual question, cuteness versus number of pets. Since both the cuteness is in a scale of 1 to 10 and the number of pets was in a quantitative as well, we went ahead and treated this as quantitative versus quantitative. So I've made a scatter plot. I did not. I just stole a scatter plot off the internets. We did a linear regression. I did not. I just made up linear regression. And we got a correlation, because those are sort of all the pieces that we're used to seeing. So conclusion-wise, I interpreted my slope since I have a regression. For every extra point on the cuteness scale, the number of pets a cat receives will increase by 3. I also interpreted my correlation. We have a strong, moderate, positive linear relationship between cuteness and the number of cats. And really cool thing in StatCrunch, you can click in the correlation section a two-sided p-value. So I actually got out a p-value, which shows that this correlation is statistically significant and that there is some sort of relationship between the cuteness and pets. And then the last piece I talked about today in class, some future work. So how would you have improved upon this? What would you do if you wanted to continue with this? So I said future work. We want to extend the study to people who don't identify as cat people. And more so, we want to see if there's a difference in number of pets based on gender. So do the men or women, are they more likely to get more pets? Because if we're these little cute kittens who did this project, we want to know whether we should be approaching the men or the women to get more pets. So anyways, that's a really silly breakdown of our actual projects. But I'll post up this PDF on Blackboard so you guys can have it as a reference.